Hello and welcome. My name is Luke-Aliga. I am your young adult values coach. Yes, the founder of Values for Legacy Academy. So today, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to parents. Yes, you. There's something you do that impacts on your children so badly when it comes to their opportunity to build, to grow. So this has to do with how you communicate what happens in your relationships to your children. Okay, so remember your friend is your children's like auntie or uncle, or they are more like your children's big friends. That's how relationships work. So your children know your friends, they know when the relationship is being very nice and sweet. And yes, it's good for them to know that. Then someday relationship goes south, just a little misunderstanding. And when this happens, there is always room for resolution of that misunderstanding. And that's why we hear of conflict and we hear of conflict resolution. That is to say that when you quarrel with someone today, surely there will be an opportunity to reconcile tomorrow. But here is the problem. The problem is that when you go back home and you talk ill of this person that was your friend simply because of that misunderstanding or that quarrel, and you tell your children that you don't want to see them greet that their uncle or their auntie or that's your friend, that big friend. You say all the bad things that, out of anger you're feeling about that person, you say it to the hearing of these children. And then you swear that you're never going to talk to that person again. The person hurts your feelings and you will never. You are doing something bad to your children. Because one thing is that certainly there will be a time for a reconciliation. And if after you've said all these things to these children, you reconcile with that your friend, what happens with your children? Your children will not see what you are seeing that brought about reconciliation. That's the truth. That's how bad things work. It will be hard for your children to begin to befriend that person again. It will be hard for your children to begin to accept the person. And that is how these things, by the time you know it, everything is spoiled. You've spoiled it for your kids. So please avoid saying ill of someone to your children. In fact, to anybody. Because when the time for reconciliation comes, the people will be there and they will know. And let me tell you another thing. Sometimes telling these people, your children, or okay, let me add that maybe you tell another person about this your friend that you had a problem with, and then you said all whatnot to that person, can equally hinder reconciliation. I don't know if you got that. Going out, when you had a problem with someone, you had a misunderstanding that led to a quarrel or a fight, and then it gets to the time when you decide that, okay, we are going to reconcile. Do you know that having told people it might be very difficult for you to reconcile? Because all the things you vomited, you'll be thinking, if I go now and reconcile, these people that have already heard all the bad things I said will now be saying, why, why did I, and why did I? So you understand. So please, try as much as possible to avoid speaking ill of a friend that you had a problem with, especially to other people. It is better you keep it in your heart and in your mind, pending when you begin to think of reconciliation. When you begin to see, maybe look back at the person's love bank, what the person kept in the love bank, and decide, okay, for the sake of this thing, for the sake of that person did for me some time ago, I'm going to go back to you and maybe apologize and reconcile with him. So that it will not be difficult and so that it will be very easy, and also incorporate your children will also be incorporated in the continue with the friendship. Please do not go about bad mouthing that your person that you had a problem or misunderstanding. I hope this talks to somebody. I hope this just makes sense to somebody. I just wanted to say this out because I've seen one too many situations and it's not good. It's not good. Don't raise your children. Don't raise your children that way because reconciliation will be difficult. Reconciliation will be hard. And when you want your kids to reconcile back, it's not going to be easy. You will be the only one reconciled. And that will be fun. That will be nice. That will speak good of what you've sowed. Thank you so much for listening to this point. My name again is Utito from Luke-Aliga. I'm helping you raise wise, confident, and wholesome young adults. Let's work together to make our next generation a legacy that everyone will want to be a part of. I value